Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Disbearity here. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the Chaos Dwarfs DLC 1 month in. But before we begin, definitely consider liking and subscribing for more Total War Warhammer news and also gameplay updates. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to be talking about here today is that, how's this going to go? It's gonna be me and three of my other friends here. We're gonna be discussing the Chaos Dwarves, of course. I'll be discussing Zoth and his campaign, and my other friends will be discussing Astrogoth and also Zatan's campaign as well. So we're gonna be discussing like what their strengths, their weaknesses, and how the DLC mainly just flows all around. So to begin this video, since I'm going first, I'm gonna speak on Zoth. So the Zoth campaign is honestly, it's pretty good. It's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking on Zoth here. So the Zoth is a pretty amazing caster wizard. Now, of course, as Zoth, I want to say he's a hybrid unit. He can tank his own, but also he can cast Sling Out and cast spells as best, as he could. Zoth uses the lore of Hashut, which is pretty amazing, has some pretty good and decent spells. While in the campaign here, which is mostly campaign only, he does get Deadly Onslaught, he gets the Rally, and also Standard Eye as active abilities. And then for passive abilities, he gets Dark Renown and also Killing Fire. Now later on in the campaign, you can later spec into getting Arcane Conduit and also Evasion. Now the unique items that Zoth gets, by the way, he gets the Daemon Spite Crucible, the Hellshard Amulet, and also the Graven Scepter, which are all his unique items. He does get his own unique mount, which is called Cinder Breath, which I believe is a great Taurus. Now, I could be wrong. I have to go back and look at that. And then his starting army is not the best, but is decent. He gets 1 laborer, 2 units of Goblin Laborers, 1 unit of Infernal Guard, 1 unit of Blunderbuss, and also a unit of Kadai Fireborn. Now, for his Lord effects, he gets a campaign movement range of plus 10%, upkeep for minus 25% for Kadai units, and his army only, and also his pass for Dark Renown. Now, his main starting position is in the Black Fortress, in my personal opinion. In his campaign, it can be rough, though, depending on what difficulty you're on, and second off, what early on decisions that you make. So first off, the first decision, like example here, you have a couple choices here. You can either go to war. Well, you're pretty much going to go to war with Clinch Craventail. Actually, matter of fact, I'll actually take that back. In some campaigns, in my experience, I went to war with either Trench or went to war with Greases. Either one is kind of hectic because eventually you'll get sideswiped by both of them, and you'll have to like figure out a way on how you can go for one or the other. Now, if Greases goes ahead and attacks you, of course, that makes the campaign a bit challenging because you can't focus on Trench anymore. And also, you could potentially be attacked by Gorse and also by Mr. Dragon Boy or down south. And so that can be a little bit kind of disgusting as well. So it's all about the early, what you try to do early on. One good strength about his campaign for sure is that the Cathan caravans, once they come around every so often, you're able to go ahead and sack them, and you get a lot of early on money, and that's very helpful. Just in case you do have to focus on either Trench or by Greases. Now, if you go to war Trench, keep this in mind that Skaven they rely on numbers, especially on higher difficulties where Skaven they have lower upkeep, so they can field more units on the field, and it's gonna make your early on campaign a lot challenging, especially when you are fighting against 3 full stacks of Skaven army. But also the Drakequake Mortar does come in handy. And then second off, though, you do have Greases over here. Greases, if he attacks you out of spite, considering that the Greenskins or even Zatan might actually go ahead and go attack him as well. But if Greases focuses you for the most part, he'll just be an annoyance that keeps trying to sack your cities every so often that he can get. The weaknesses, of the Chaos Dwarves, or at least for Zoth, though, is how quickly you can field your better units. I mean, now early game, of course, you have your Chaos Dwarf warriors, which are actually pretty good in order to hold on against the various armies. But of course, if you're going against the Skaven, there are small numbers in hand. But what really makes up for it, though, are the Chaos Dwarfs blunderbusses, because those blunderbusses are dangerous once they get the shots off. Very dangerous, especially versus ogres like Greenskins, because how large the ogres are, they can easily hit their shots against them without having to shoot over an arch or be up on a hill, and so that makes it a little bit easier. Of course, with the Chaos Dwarfs, you are limited on the amount of units that you can field because of the armament, well, because of the system they have that's similar to the Tomb Kings. And so once you start to get more units to unlock and also be able to use it, it gets a little bit more easier. Now, considering that here, the caravan system is actually quite nice too, because the caravan system does come in clutch. Because the more labor, if you can get labor from the caravan system, it gets a lot easier, of course, because the more labor you have, the more efficiency that you'll get. But again, you have to decide on which cities that you want to have your outposts and also have your factories on, because outposts actually feel better guardhouses versus. Oh, let me take that back. Factories feel better guardhouses, while the outpost system um, feels a weaker defense, but they also give you better raw material. So that's the trade off there with the Chaos Dwarfs for sure. Um, the unit, we're going to hit up the units real quick. The units of the Chaos Dwarfs are all pretty nice. Jazolith, his system or his well, his system's actually really good, honestly. His skill set, I mean, that's what I hitting. His skill set is really nice. Really can make him very tanky, but also as in any lord, he does get a flying unit. But if you put him in, forward combat, and he can get shredded easily down. Um, the Dreadquake mortar system's quite nice. Again, that it's like a good, nice fashion clutch mechanic. Now you have to really know how to aim that though, because the AI knows how to dodge. I witnessed that firsthand. That's a scary thing when you see when you're trying to use a Dreadquake mortar and the AI just dodges out of your hand. But so far though, when it comes to overall the Chaos Dwarfs here, I want to say that with at least with Drazil's campaign, I'm gonna give his campaign at least A tier plus in his campaign. And the reason why I give it A tier is because it just depends on your early decisions. Your first, I want to say literally 5 to 10 turns. If you can make the right decisions in your first 5 to 10 turns, his campaign can go real smooth. It's just if you make that one decision, you might as well. You're gonna have a rough time, especially on again on difficulties of very hard or legendary. I had trouble with very hard and legendary, and it's just like a rough experience. I mean, I was having fun because it was a challenge, but it's that rough experience that kind of messes you up a little bit, especially when it comes to your enjoyment. Um, but overall, that's all that I have to say about the Chaos Doors. I mean, I believe that my buddies are gonna probably say a lot more than me, but I'm gonna go ahead and hand off to one of you guys.
Okay, hi. You probably know my voice already since I'm in a few videos. It's Durper. And I'm talking about Astrogoth Ironhand, who is the main dude of the High Priest of Hashut. So, similar to what my friend has already said about the Chaos Dwarfs, their roster is pretty unique in their own way. Sure, they did like a limited thing with the Tomb Kings, but it's lore friendly because there's not that many Chaos Dwarfs in lore since I don't know if they can like reproduce their stuff and that, but it's meh. So Astragoth, he starts off in, if I remember the territory, he starts off in the Darklands, more north of um Azragorth, not Azragorth, Drazov. He starts more northerner and in the Darklands than him, so he's more closer to the main capital of all the Chaos Dwarfs, Zarnagrund. So far he's an okay lord. He's a good caster lord with a mix of Lord of Hashut and Lord of Fire, especially because if you top it off with the Kindle Flame ability for passive of Lord Fire and every cast spell you get fire weakness, as well as Ash Storm because that also gives fire weakness as well. And then you can also double stack Ash Storm if you have an overcasted version and a single casted version, which is pretty disgusting. He's mostly a lord that focuses more on the centaur unit. So all the Torok units, Bull Centaur renders, all the fun stuff. Um, but yeah, Chaos Dwarfs later on in the game it's easy to get armaments. I mean, like I'm in a game where I'm making like 771 a turn, and I can easily just make more if I just get more factories and such. But the only problem is later game you'll need more labor, so that's why the caravan system helps out. So you can easily just get more laborers for your gold or ornaments producing a lot. And also going through the Tower of Czar, that unique mechanic is pretty good, especially because at the very end, if you are playing by yourself or you're doing a multiplayer campaign with someone who isn't one of the Chaos Lords, you can easily have access to the other two legendary lords as well as the main faction to get Gore the Cruel. Let's see. But yeah, just suppose I heard something I said. Just keep up, do everything. The Hellforge is a great place to go. Just yeah, buy ornaments, upgrade all the fun stuff. You can easily get the seats in the tower that gives you a random capacity increase like every so often, which is pretty nice. And also just manage your economy well. I mean, Aspergorf has got an easy start. Like the north of you, you just get some Norscan factions. You get a minor Skaven faction that really doesn't bother you as much. They usually want to be your friend. The only biggest threat you have to keep an eye on is Grimgor in the mountains. Like, if you don't go and take him out soon, he's just gonna come and gate stomp you. And then also you gotta be careful because you're also closest to the dwarfs and the other three legendary lords. You gotta watch out for Ungrim Iron Fist and also High King Thorgrim. And also you attack the Slaughterer, but he doesn't really bother you too much unless anti-player bias kicks in and the higher difficulties as well, and you lower your reliability. But I think it should be fine. Just don't be lowering that. And then I think late game you gotta worry about Archeon in case he wants to clunk you. Because oof, I don't know what they did to him. But yeah, that's pretty much Aspergorf in a nutshell. Pretty good lord, get good items. He likes using the Lord Shoot spell, the Hellhammer, which is pretty good. It's a good twin spell, but it's not the best spell in Lord Shoot, in my opinion. The best spell is obviously the bombardment spell that they have that I can't remember the name of off the top of my head. That Drazov favors the most because it's just wow. But I will pass it on to our other friend to he talk about Zatan the Black.
Hello, I'll be talking about Zatan the Black. Zatan the Black has out of all the Chaos Dwarfs, in my opinion, I feel like he has one of the easiest campaigns out of the 3 that came out, and he starts at Stone Sky Foothills, and that is basically at the top right of the map, right next to Cathay, and he's right next to the village. So his starting location, the strengths of the starting location is he is perfectly safe at that location. He has full control of it. If you are a decent player and know how to control maps, you will have a good and easy time in this campaign. It's so easy to control it. It's so easy to control that part of the map. All you have to do, really, you don't even have to go to war with Village. You can keep Village as a friend if you want to. But the idea is that you could take Village, get him, get his defeat trait, and then what you would want to do after this is that you can go south and go to Cathay and get their traits. And the best part about Zatan is he's a melee lord. And the thing that I like about melee lords is that they are very, very strong folk. Like most mage lords are, they can't fight as good and they're not as like strong or whatever as what a melee lord could bring to the table. With this in mind, he's also the tankiest out of the bunch, so he'll be taking tons of shots and be able to deal just that damage back. He also, I feel like, out of all the other lords, deals the best with the hobgoblins. So, in my personal opinion, I would suggest rushing the early hobgoblins and going for the legendary hero, Git Sneak Backstabber. I think that's his name. But I would recommend going with him. Get a second. You don't even have to put him in Zatan's army. Get a second army and then put him in there and just have him go north. I mean, not north. Move to south and then go deal with the Cathay. And then you can get Zatan with a bunch of dwarfs and then go south, or either you can go towards Koleg and get his defeat trait, and also with Grimgor. He has a lot of options here that you could take into consideration, and I would highly recommend definitely doing the early Hobgoblin army. They are amazing units. The fire damage is amazing on them, but when you get, but like I think Disbearity said before, is that the early game it's gonna be a grueling, slow task. So I would recommend just getting those hobgoblins, rushing early. Hopefully the anti-player bias doesn't fuck you up so much, or other stuff like that. But honestly, like I said, beginning of this, Zatan is uber easy. He's just he is him. He is him. So my main recommendation: control that little part of the map. You'll never lose the campaign if you are controlling that part of the map. Control that part of the map. Keep that safe. Kill Village if you have to. If you want him to like not even be a threat there, but definitely focus on the wall of Cathay. Make sure that that never gets broken through. Take it over if you want to. You don't even have to if you don't. But I would highly recommend just being uber aggressive with Zatan. Having an early melee lord that gets as tanky as him is really good. I feel like his campaign will always be a top contender of the easiest campaigns in the entire game. And that's really all I had to say about Zatan. Like I said, he's easy. He is very, very easy to be able to get a foothold on the entire. You could basically take over all of Cafe if you need to. You could take over all of that if you want to, but that's just if you want to. Or you could go other way, go to Kole, get rid of the greenskins, get everyone's defeat traits over there. Like Zatan's campaign, in my opinion, is just a collection of collecting defeat traits. Because I really, in my heart of hearts, think that it's pretty impossible to lose with him. It's pretty impossible. He is a strong lord. He gets these 3 items. Hold on, they're really good. I don't have them in front of me. Sean, do you want to pause? And the 3 items that he has is the Obsidian Axe and the Armor Gasrak and the Chaos Runic Shield. These 3 items combined, literally, because you're going to be getting them during this campaign, makes him an unstoppable tank of a unit. For a dwarf, too, he is amazing. He is amazing at dealing damage. He's amazing at receiving damage, and he's amazing at just being able to be on the front lines consistently. Also, he has this ability called Sadistic Snare. Sadistic Snare is basically you'll hold them down and you'll be able to get free hits on them. It's good on the Lord. He's not a spellcaster, so something simple to give him. And then also his other effects is that he gets more casualties, so you're getting more laborers per fight. That's why I recommend being very aggressive with Zatan, because Zatan is able to get these casualties more and more the more that he's fighting. Also, local recruitment capacity +1. That's always good on Chaos Dwarfs because you won't have to worry about early purchases on the Forge or whatever. You can just immediately start rushing and getting stuff for that. And then besides that, he starts with, in the Immortal Empire, he starts off with 2, I think, of the default Chaos Dwarfs, the basic units. He gets 1 Hobgoblin, not the backstabbers, but like the normal ones. He gets a Blunderbuss. He gets Hobgoblin Wolf Riders and a Dread Seeker Missiles. Now, I don't know about anyone else. I personally, I don't like the Dread Seeker Missile that he gets. I think like it's a very lackluster unit. But besides that, everything else in his starting army is amazing. Like I said, you could be very aggressive with this guy. Also, for kind of like closing out his mounts, he gets because he doesn't actually get a named mount out of the other dwarfs. He is the one person that doesn't get a named mount. But you could either get a Great Taurus or you can get a Lamamoose. Yeah, that's his name. Highly recommend Lamamoose. That thing is amazing. You don't take I think you shut down magic or something. It's amazing either way. It's
attacks.
Yeah, it does. Okay, it shuts down magic attacks and it completely makes Zatan an even better lord on the campaign. He is, in my opinion, he's one of the greats. He's one of the greats. But that's all I got to say about Zatan. Also, he gets regeneration. I said him at the beginning.
Yeah, you just fucked up his name.
Let me be honest. Like I said before, I know Disbearity